Hello everybody and welcome to the new year. Why not start things off by doing a simple electrical repair. On my 2004 Corolla, my low beams seem a little dim. I've replaced the headlights thinking maybe the headlights were going bad, but it made a little bit of a difference, but that's mostly just because of the color. But I'm thinking that there's an issue in the actual wiring portion. I haven't done any official testing because I didn't want to. But I'll show you why here in a second. In order to do this repair, you're going to need four things. You're going to need a pair of crimpers and strippers. This one is a Dorman one, but it looks very similar to the ones I got from Mac Tools. Lots of places sell these. I'll throw some links in the description in case you're interested in buying a cheap one or an expensive one. You're going to need heat shrink and butt connectors. In this case, I've decided not to use solder because I just don't want to right now. So we're going to use heat shrink and butt connectors. You need some sort of heat application device for the heat shrink. I have a Matco Tools branded soldering gun, or soldering iron. Sorry for the pause for the second there. Which has this little tip on it for heat shrink. So I have that. I have a snap-on one at work, which is much nicer. But this thing is cheap and quite honestly, not worth the money. So maybe don't buy it. And then you're going to need, in this case, the connectors to the headlight bulbs. All right. So I've already done the other side. And so this is what the connector looks like. This is what was on there, and this is what is on this side as well. And looks like there is some wear on the wires, but nothing too terrible. But yeah, so let's get going on this side, and I'll teach you how to do this. So we're going to need 2 pieces of heat shrink. We're going to need 2 of these. There's got to be one more blue one. Is it hiding in one of these little pieces? No. We're just going to have to make another one do, because I don't seem to have a 4th blue one. How many pieces does it say? Okay. So we'll just use 2 of those. I should have another blue one, but it doesn't appear that I do have another blue one. So we need 2 pieces of these butt connectors. We need those. And we need this to apply heat to the tubing. So I'll see if I can do this with you being able to see everything. Go back this. So we're going to snip these here. Okay. And let me grab the other connector. And so here's the new connector. We want to make sure that these wires match up here, that the connectors point facing in the same direction, so that we know where they go. So the yellow one's gonna go to this wire, and the black one's gonna go to this wire. So I'm just gonna do these one at a time. Okay. Change the camera angle a little bit here. Might help. So we're gonna start here. So we're going to take the cutting part here. We're going to cut right here. Then we're going to take these stripping portions. And this is a 12. And you don't need to cut that much off for the butt connectors. So you squeeze like that and just pull. As you can see now, we have that. Then we'll take a butt connector and we'll put it here in this thing. We'll slide it on over. and then we will crimp it. And then you just squeeze to crimp. And so don't forget to put your heat shrink on before you finish crimping, or else you're going to have to cut it apart again and use another butt connector. So we'll do the same thing to this one. We'll cut it. This is a little bit smaller wire. I think it's a 14 or a 16. Let's try 14. Again, we don't need that much. Just grab and pull. And now we have that little amount there. I have my heat shrink. Then you just put the wire into there, and then you crimp it again. You just squeeze. Make sure it's really secure. Tug on it a little bit. It's not going anywhere. Take our heat shrink and we put it over the butt connector. You want it to be about centered. You take your heat application device and then you turn it on. In this case, this is powered by butane, so I have to let it warm up a smidge. And you can see that it's warming up. Really good heat shrink will have a lot of glue come out both sides. This is cheap Dorman stuff, so it's not as great. Honestly, if you want good heat shrink, Ford, that's really good stuff. I would know. And then you just shrink the tubing. And you definitely want heat shrink whenever you do a wiring repair, especially if it's outside of your vehicle. Because if you don't use heat shrink, you can get water intrusion, and that'll cause corrosion and high resistance. And then things won't work right, or they won't work at all. And then you have to replace stuff. And not only can it cause failed wiring, it can cause failed components through that if the corrosion spreads. So if you do wiring yourself at home and you're just going off of YouTube videos like this, take note, always use heat shrink. Whether you're soldering or whatever, always use your heat shrink tubing, because you want to keep that moisture out so that things stay working properly and in good condition. And so that'll be good enough. And so there you have one. And I'll do the other one here real quick, just so that you can see it without me explaining it, so that you know all the steps. I'll just go through it and you can watch. the last thing you do, always, is verify your repair. And as you can see, the bulb lights up bright. So we did it correctly. All right, so there you go. I've taught you how to use these if you didn't know how, and I've used this, and hopefully you learned something, and we'll see if this makes my lights any brighter going down the road at night. So I think they look a little brighter to me personally. I took a video before and after, but during the day it's kind of hard to tell. So anyway, Happy New Year, and more shit to come. All right.